Hello, welcome back to the channel of nonsense. It's 5:30 on a Friday morning. It's currently 6 degrees centigrade, but it's all right because I'm wrapped up like Father Christmas. I'm on my own MT-10SP. I've got a big rucksack on full of camera gear. I've got a top box full of pants, and I'm on my way to France and Germany. Who bloody raid? But yes, it is Friday morning. Come Monday evening I will be back here, but in the intervening days we're going to look at some war stuff, find some amazing roads, introduce two of my good friends to the Vosges mountains, and hopefully have some fun. I'm going to take you along for the ride, and whatever this is going to be, a 3-part video series or something. We're going to see some new war stuff, explore some new bits of places that I've been to before, but most importantly, I'm having a holiday and you're just coming with me. That's what this is about. Welcome to, we go back to the Vosges again, but on a slightly different hyper-naked bike and look at some slightly different war stuff. Hooray for originality. Let's go to the Eurotunnel. And let's hope that pieces of me don't fall off in the icy blast on the motorway. It's going to warm up. We're not meant to have any rain. Just some good times, some beer, and maybe some cake or strudel. Is strudel a cake? I don't know, it's too early for this. I'll see you in a minute. Oh look, it's the Ian Rodey Memorial Barrier. Sorry Dad. And so, like a pepperami being squeezed forth from its translucent sheath, we emerge, and it's wet, into the bosom of Jacques Chirac's doughy motherland. We're in France, that's what I'm trying to say, we're in France. And the tour begins, well it will do, once I've got some petrol, because I'm on an MT-10 and I've got half tank, and we are waiting for my friend Neil at the petrol station at Eurotunnel. He's on the train behind us. So anyway, just go and do that. Time to talk about the concept, if you will, for this tour. It's not particularly highbrow. What we're going to do is take some motorbikes, namely my MT-10SP and a couple of parallel twinned dithering mobiles, and take them to the Vosges mountains. Now I'm going on a tour with two people I've never ridden with before. We'll call them Neil and Matt because that's their names. I'm going to hopefully expose to them my love for the Vosges mountains, and they are both war nuts as well. So we're going to look at some war stuff that we've not seen before on the channel. I think it might be one of the darkest video series I've done yet, but hopefully the riding and all the other stuff will brighten it in between. I'm going to eat some bread and some cakes and just enjoy riding motorbikes on the continent, which I can't blooming wait for. So we're just going to head down to the Vosges mountains now. It's 6 hours from here in Calais. We're just going to bosh it out on the motorway, stop a few times for petrol and food, and hopefully see you on the way, or in the mountains, or where various British people have been executed. We've just left Calais and it's raining. Yay! There's blue sky over there though, so I'm holding out some hope. Now handily, thanks to the powers of the Garmin Zumo XT2, you can see that we are going to be out of this rain in about 5 or 10 minutes. We're just edging it, which is good because I haven't put my visor on properly and I've got rain on the inside of it. Brilliant. Right, update. We've been riding for probably 4 hours. We've got 150 miles left to go, which means we've done about 200 and something miles. Everyone's in high spirits. Neil's going to stick his shaft in my hole. There you go, just in that one please. Oh, did I just crash into your bike? Let me just check this is taking us, oh shit, it's actually been taking us back to Surrey the whole time. My bum's in tatters. We've only got 36 miles left though. This is the thing, doing this, you have one boring long day at the start of your holiday, but then you do get there and you're surrounded by mountains. There's no point breaking the first day up trying to make it interesting, because there's nothing interesting in the north of France. Well, it's been a long, tedious day of motorways, but we're at 8 miles from the town of Gerardmer, and just before you get there, it's on a big lake. You get to do this road, which is just like a fairly average road. Cars pulling out on you, but it's just a nice amuse-bouche. There's a giant bibendum and a karting circuit, lovely. You start to get a general impression of the scenery and the greenness and the lush farmland. It's a massively underrated part of the world, apart from me, who overrates it in every YouTube video I do, but whatever. Right, that's the end of our first day riding. We've got to the Vosges mountains. MT-10 doing superbly, doing about 120, 130 miles to the fuel light. Absolute legend. Yeah, it's taken 7 hours to get here from Calais, including a lunch stop, which was leisurely, and I think 4 fuel stops. So we've done pretty well. I only took my helmet off once, and that was for lunch. And I always say, when you stop for petrol, tell your group to not take their helmets off, because otherwise you end up in a world of faff and earplugs and neck buffs, and it takes forever. But anyway, my friend Matt, that's his long-term test Honda Trans Alp, and Neil, who doesn't work for BMW at all, has got a BMW F900 GS, very good bike. But anyway, tomorrow is the real start of this trip, so that'll be in the rest of the video coming up. And we are going to explore the Vosges Mountains for a day with two people that have never been here. I'm basically working for the tourist board at this point, and I've got a load of places that I want to go and see that I've not seen yet, to do with the SAS and the Second World War. But I just want to quickly show you the view from our lovely Airbnb. This is our lovely Airbnb, which cost us 200 quid for 3 people for 2 nights, which I think is quite good value for money. And it's got this view. Look at that. We are in, well, not the mountains, they're hills, I suppose. But if you look over there, there are ski runs and things like that. And there's a big lake as well down over there. We're in Gérardmer. Gérardmer, I always use this as a base because the Route de Crête is basically up there, about 10 minutes away, until you're on amazing roads. But yeah, one thing that's massively underrated about this kind of part of the world is just how fresh the air is and how good it is for your soul to come out into the hills, into the mountains, with only the distant rumble of, well, quite a busy road down there, to be fair. But yeah, let's fast forward to tomorrow when the fun really begins. I'm going to go and have a beer and some pizza. See you in a bit. Right, it's Saturday morning. We all had a lovely sleep in there. We've gone and eaten quite a lot of buttery French pastry stuff. It's about 10 AM and my bike's a bit damp. It's about 6 degrees, but it's fine. Nothing base layers can't fix. And we're going to go and explore the Vosges today and see some war stuff. Surprise, surprise. And get some petrol. That was quite slow starting. Fantastic. As the only member of the group without a 19-inch front wheel, 21-inch front wheel, I'm clearly going to fall off going down here. But anyway, let's see how we do. So yes, normally when I come to the Vosges Mountains, I will stay somewhere around here, this town of Gérardmer, because it's just very convenient for getting up onto the Route de Crête and exploring other bits and pieces. And there's a really good Italian restaurant here that does nice pizzas, and as we found out last night, fist-sized balls of mozzarella that have been battered and deep fried. It's like a Scotch egg of Italianness. It was amazing. And pizzas and ice cream's alright as well. There's a lake as well, if you want to go and indulge your romantic side and fist someone next to a body of water. You're all waiting, thank you. And it's just a lovely, lovely place to base yourself with lots of restaurant options and fuel. Right, we are leaving Gérardmer for a small village called Moussey or Moussey. I'm not sure if it's related to rodents or delicious chocolate desserts from the Waitrose cold aisle, but we're going to talk about a bit of war to start with, who bloody Ray, and specifically something called Operation Loyton, which was a British military operation in August to October 1944 in the Vosges Mountains, where essentially the British Army and the American Army, the Allied armies, were advancing across Europe, and we wanted to drop in some SAS people about 60 miles ahead of them into the forests to gee up the French resistance and the Maquis, so we could form a bit of an uprising against the then nasty Germans. And I've told my 5-year-old daughter some of these stories, and she now thinks all Germans are evil, and I've had to explain that actually it's just the bad ones called Adolf, and quite a few from the 1930s and 40s. But anyway, I digress. We parachuted in a load of SAS. It's meant to be a 2-week operation. It ended up taking 3 months. It didn't end especially well. We misdropped them. They ended up forming a camp in the woods near the town that we're just heading to. And instead of lasting for 2 weeks, they were there for 2 or 3 months before they decided, sod it, we've run out of everything. We need to go and link up with the Allied armies and escape. And the Germans really didn't like the fact that there were SAS chaps with big moustaches and jeeps with twin Vickers K machine guns bombing around these towns at will, shooting up Germans and then disappearing into the woods again. They didn't like that, so in classic 1930s to 40s Nazi style, they rounded up lots of locals and executed them, because that's a rational response, isn't it? Let's be honest. And when the SAS were captured, because of Hitler's commando order, where all kind of parachutey people, even if they're in uniform, are to be treated as terrorists and executed, hint, that's illegal, lots of the SAS men who escaped were executed, and we're going to a few of the spots where they met their end today. But yeah, I think as riding around today, just imagine bands of gung-ho SAS people in jeeps and on foot ambushing German staff cars and just generally taking out their anger on the local German military population, and then sadly the Germans taking severe reprisals against all the local French people who were supporting them and hiding them and helping them. So that's the cheery theme for the next bit of this video. Let's get on with it. Right, you join me about 2 miles southwest of Saint-Dié-de-Vosges, the big town in this region, and we've just turned off a small road and come up this dirt track, and you wouldn't know this was here unless you'd been a nerd on the internet for several hours before the trip. But there's a memorial here to 8 members of 2 SAS who were captured 80 years ago tomorrow, on the 15th of September 1944, and they were quite quickly kind of moved around various camps and interrogated in this area before being moved to a garrison town, well, a garrison in Saint-Dié-de-Vosges down there for dispatch. And then on the 20th of September they were brought to the valley down there in a lorry. The lorry was surrounded by Germans, they didn't want any civilians seeing it, and they brought one by one up here. They were made to take off their uniforms, their jackets and their trousers, and they were marched up into the wood and shot. And there's a memorial here, pristine, in the middle of the forest. Again, you wouldn't know this was here unless you came looking for it, but I'm going to flip the camera around and show the memorial. So there we go. I don't know if you can see that. It's called the I Am a Soldier Memorial, because that was one of the last words spoken by one of these SAS men as they were dragged up the hill by the Germans. It says, near the spot on 20th September 1944, the following men of 2nd SAS were shot after capture. And yeah, there's a couple of wreaths here as well. And it's very, very peaceful and very remote, apart from these motorbikes. But yes, there's some testimony here from Germans, from some of the Germans that were later tried for these crimes. Many of them were then executed. During the war, actually, the leader of the SD commando that carried out these killings actually escaped any punishment, and he was a lawyer until 1977, when people said, stop doing that, you're a bad Nazi. And he died a free man in 1991, having orchestrated the killings of these 8 SAS soldiers. But yeah, it says here, one of the last prisoners who was taken up the hill to be shot said, I am a soldier. This gave me a pang because I understood the men only too well. They were completely right, and it was also their right to be treated as prisoners of war, as is laid down by the Geneva Convention. But anyway, yeah, so 8 young men, one of whom had to be carried up here because he was wounded from fighting. He had a splint on his leg, and then the Germans laid him down to remove the splint before he was executed and thrown in a grave. But anyway, this was all rediscovered a couple of years ago. This memorial was built in 2019, I think it says. And it's a very peaceful spot and worth trekking up this little hill if you're interested. But anyway, let's do some more riding and go and find a few more of these, sadly. So we've just stumbled upon this nice little road. It's the D420. I'm guessing this is heading vaguely north to Saint-Dié-de-Vosges. Look at this. Almost smells like a Yankee candle shop. This is a lovely wake-up call in the morning. Yeah, I'm starting to feel a bit justified in spending 2 nights here in the Vosges. I was wondering if I'd just get bored of it, seeing as I come here every year, but I've already discovered something a bit new. Roads that I've not done, and which you can see as well are jam-packed with more traffic than London. Oh no, wait, it's empty. I've not seen many other bikers or cars. Right, we've ridden down another forestry track about 2 miles into the woods, till a point where you're convinced you've taken the wrong fork down a track, into another very secluded bit of Vosges woodlands, and there's a very new looking memorial here. And this is to one particular SAS man, Lieutenant Silly, who I believe was leading a band of French resistors, who all met their end here. I'll go up there in a second to look at the memorial. But as I understand it, and I'm basing this on memory that I had when I had mobile phone signal, I could fact check myself, which I don't now. I believe they were executed by the SS in a building just down here, and then I believe the SS set the building on fire to get rid of the bodies and to disguise what they've done. So again, another very remote area where you can fully imagine German trucks full of very scared resistance fighters and SAS people being brought to be executed. It's beautiful, but quite grim. So like the other I'm a Soldier memorial that we just visited, this one is absolutely pristine and it feels brand new. These steps are certainly new. They've just redone all the earthworks, I think, but they properly look after these things. even though they are miles from civilization. You have to go looking for them. So there you go. I think this says to the patriots and resistance and martyrs, and I guess the fighters. They've got the SS on there as well. 22nd of October 1944, and you've got the names here as well. So yeah, the forestry people, le parachutiste anglais down there for Lieutenant Silly, and over here as well, Louis-François Jean Pellet, Inspector des Eaux et Forêts, water and forest inspector, and I'm guessing something to do with the resistance as well, or maybe not, given that the SS just like to pin the blame on locals for the SAS's attacks and things like that. So yeah, there's a stream trickling away down there, and again, some motorbikes. Right, next up on our little depressing morning tour on this Saturday in the Vosges, we're going to go to the town of Moussey to see near where the SAS were camped out, and where they killed quite a lot of Germans in their jeeps, and there's a few graves there, Commonwealth war graves in the cemetery there. So we're going to check that out now. See you in a bit. Now I have to say, we're not really starting the morning with iconic Vosges mountain roads. We're just going to a couple of little memorial sites, but look, we got to come and wave at a train driver. He didn't wave back. Maybe he's on strike from waving, I don't know. Look at the chateau on that. That is lovely. Don't know where we are, but it's nice. But it's got like a river around it. It's got a moat. It's got a tobacco shop. It's got everything. The Vosges continues to be quite nice. And there's a kebab shop as well. There's some 125s parked outside it. The dream. So we're about to enter the little village of Moussey. It's got two S's. I think it's Moussey. And this is kind of really the hub of where the SAS operated, camping up in the hills and things like that. But it also became the scene of lots of battles with the Germans, who kind of knew that the SAS were around here, and they did eventually find their camp and kind of flushed them out, and that's when they had to escape. But yeah, there's stories of the SAS coming up and down this road, sometimes just finding that a whole kind of division of SS had turned up and kind of got out of bed in the morning, and they just ploughed through them with their jeeps with twin machine guns on, killing lots and lots of Germans. So there's a lot of history in this town, and hopefully, if we can park up here without getting in trouble, some bits in the churchyard that we can have a look at. So anyway, we're going to park up and have a quick look around here. So here we are in a very peaceful churchyard, the church at Moussey, and lots of graves here. But there are about 10 or so Commonwealth war graves, immaculately kept as always, all belonging to members, well nearly all members of the Special Air Service, 2nd SAS. And as a sign here, it's in French, I've just translated it, but basically saying, with the exception of one or two of these soldiers, these were all men who were executed by the Germans after being captured. And they ranged from 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds to 36-year-old here, interestingly. R. Friedlander, but he served as Sergeant R. Lodge, so presumably he didn't want to have a German-sounding name while serving in the SAS, so he changed it to Lodge, and he was killed on 18th of August 1944. 20th of October for P. Bannerman, who's a signalman, 23 years old, and these three chaps all died on the same day, 19th of September 1944. So I don't know their story of J. Conway, Fitzpatrick and J. Elliott, but they rest here, 19, 27 and 27 years old. And every single one has a very new cross as well. The SAS winged dagger on it, who dares wins. So yeah, it's an interesting little corner of France. Again, in this beautiful wooded valley where the SAS were hiding basically and harassing the Germans. And they ended up here. Right, unless the church dongs again, we're going to leave it there. Thank you for watching part one of this kind of war and road series. There we go, another dong. This is going brilliantly. Hang on, hold your dong. Right, thank you for watching. Like this video if you've liked it. Stay tuned, do subscribe, because there's going to be a more uplifting second part, because this afternoon we're going to the rest of the Vosges to just explore the roads and have fun, really. Less depressing war stuff in that episode. And less donging as well. Thank you, goodbye. scenery.